Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome to day 4 of LearnFest. My name is Ayesha Chowdhry. I'm a TRG founder member. I began my professional life, many moons ago in the HR industry with an MBA in finance and an MBA in marketing and an MBA in entrepreneurship. But HR has given me a good life, so I continued with it ever since. I'm a TRG co-founder member as well, and I'm so glad. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be over here and to be able to welcome you all over here. If you're anything like me, you guys will have been on board with us and will have been seeing LearnFest and learning from it, growing with it from Monday onwards. Our theme for yesterday was Transform with Technology, and we got a whole host of interest generated by all the programs, especially the technical ones. Some waterfall session on how to make LinkedIn work for you was very, very popular. Fahim Azam's humor at 11 o'clock at night made us all laugh, but was also sobering and thought-provoking. Thank you, everybody. Okay, on day 1, day 2, and day 3, you've all made your mark, believe me. Today's day is about learning new skills. The theme is learn new skills. Okay. That's what we've been doing all along. Now, we've had an impressive lineup of speakers all through, okay, but I consider today extra special for many reasons. So in our dawn session today, as our keynote speaker, we're going to be having Arif Anis IA. Okay, he's going to be talking to us in a few minutes about executive presence. The best thing about Arif Anis IA is how he is someone who is a continuous learner, a very, very quick learner, okay, and he continues to stay humble. इन्होंने साल के शुरू के अंदर अपनी एक किताब लॉन्च की थी गोरों के देश में. He wrote his first book when he was still a student. He is an inspirational speaker. He has shared center stage with world famous personalities, and we're all proud of that because he's proudly Pakistani. He's the first world famous personalities. He shared center stage with people like Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Daniel Goleman, the late Stephen Covey, Tony Robbins, and these are people to name just a few. Okay. In addition, in the community, as a keen community giver, Arif supports a lot of community programs. He's a trustee of the Ahuat program in the UK. He is also one of the co-founders of the 1 Million Meals program in the UK, which began to be able to feed and support the frontline staff from NHS fighting COVID and all of those who are food deprived in the UK. So we'll be listening to him shortly. In addition to that, we have a dialogue with four panelists who are very well known, very accomplished in their relevant lines of work at 10:45 onwards. So we'll have Adil Musaji, co-founder, creator of Ego, the East End, the Raintree Spa. We're going to be having Hassan Azhar with us, okay, who's the group CEO of HRSG, which is one of the largest organizations or employers in the private sector. Asma Umar, our CEO of Strategy Consulting, who you will also have heard with a very good session on day 1. And last but not least, we'll be having Dr. Saad Ahmed Qazi, who is the Professor of Electrical Engineering and Dean Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering at NED University. So in our noon session from 3 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. today, we're going to be having 11 workshops, okay, and team talk. Thank you so much, Umair, Sarah, Hamad, and your volunteers for keeping it all together and learning it on the fly. Running 11 parallel sessions is not easy, but it's not the first time you're going to be doing it. So thank you for learning. You've got to teach me how to do that too, by the way. Okay, that's great. So the 11 sessions that we basically going to be having, let me just read out to you, okay? Because we've got some eminent names over here. We have Dr. Sunil Gupta talking with us about agile thinking. We have Samra Javed from IOBM talking about communicating assertively. Okay, thank you. We have Asif Khan from Carnelian talking about critical thinking. Swaleha Bhatti will talk about emotional independence. Furqan Qureshi Saab will talk about fostering innovation in teams. Usman Gulzari about Kuftar Ka Ghazi Le Gya Bazi. Wasim Mazhar will talk about HR 2020, and Fahad Ahmed will talk about an extremely important thing, introduction to project management. Because sachi baat hai, aaj ke zamane mein everything ends up basically being the project, isn't it? Sadi Shah, I'm looking forward to your persuasion games. Okay. And UTP, Umar Pirzada, I'm looking forward to listening to the agile mindset as well. The good thing, and last but not least, Rehan Allahwala, you're going to be taking us through how teachers can teach students online, because that's something that is so close to so many people's hearts. Anybody who's a parent or a teacher or a student, for them, it's very, very important. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Saab. Thank you so much for the good wishes. And I think, inshallah, today will be another good day. Now, these are the sessions we're going to be having from up to 3:45. 3:45 to 4:30 p.m. We're going to be having 4 demos. Okay, Shireen is basically going to be talking to us, giving us a demo on team alignment exercises. Munawwar Hamid Saab is going to be talking with us about leadership skills. Professor Sheikh will be giving us a demo on digital marketing process and strategy. And Meena Wali Mohammed will be there with us for presentation skills. The best thing about our LearnFest, which I am really enjoying, is the fact that there is so much happening and so much to absorb. And then what we're doing is basically that I for one, and I'm sure there are a lot of us who are doing that as well, we basically end up going back to the recorded sessions to be able to say, okay, fine, what did I miss? What can I learn from here? And how can I take it forward? So I think by that token, that's a very big advantage, and it's a very it's a great way of being able to soak up so much more learning than anything else. Okay. We have a special today at 6 p.m. today. We're also going to be joined up by Dr. Yang Zhao, who is a distinguished professor at the School of Education at the University of Kansas, along with very own Abbas Hussain Sahab, and they're going to be talking about reimagining the grammar of schooling. Dr. Yang Zhao is someone who focuses on people living, on children working to their strengths, and us being able to bring out children's strengths in education. And by that token, he has some very new, very interesting ideas to share with us. Abbas Saab, I love listening to you always, and I always walk away having learned something. Now for our dust session. For our dust session, we're going to be having Kamran. Kamran is our very own learning to thrive in new reality. That's what he's going to be talking with us about. At 10:45, PSTD is going to be having learning debate moderated by Ali Saeed. And there's going to be a set of well-exposure panelists like Adil Anwar from the Fatma Group, Etisham from Ufone, Sahil Adim from Source Code, and Atika Imtiaz from K Electric to be talking with us and sharing their thoughts with us. And at 11:15, inshallah, all being well, Syed Nusrat Ali Saab, who is my TRG co-founder, and we expect to wrap up an eventful day for you, and we take it through from there, go into Independence Day tomorrow, then prepare. So that's basically there. That's our day today. Okay. Like all of you, I'm also a very keen learner. I'm a hungry learner, and I want to make the most of both of these sessions. I was thinking about what do I want to get out of today? And I started thinking about, okay, where am I right now and what do I want to do? It will be different things for different people. And at 25 years of age, yes, I wanted to learn things which would help me get ahead in my career. That was what was important to me then, and that's the way it should be as well. As you get to 50, and I turned 50 last month, things change a little bit. You start to focus on life skills at times. So for me, for instance, what's more important is how to answer a question that one of my nieces asked me about recently. How can I be a good parent? How can I learn to be a good parent? There's another thing. How can I need to learn how to take better care of my elders who are around and who are aging and who tend to forget. Those are also life skills that we need to go. But what we need to do is to see what's our sense of purpose. Asper Mir, in his keynote address yesterday, gave that very important example of how his sense of purpose changed over 2 days on the road. So for us, if we can correlate what we are learning to our sense of purpose, say, where am I right now? Where do I want to get to? And how will I get there? Okay, मैंने करना क्या क्या है, सीखना क्या क्या है. I think inshallah it will help. I want to get even better at being organized and disciplined because, as Marshall Goldsmith said, what got you here won't get you there. I also want, within reason, to be able to teach others so that I can be more at peace. So that when it's my time to go, I want to be able to say, okay, whatever, I've left a legacy. I've taught other people a few things. I've been a bridge, not taught. I think taught is a very, in a sense, it almost seems a little arrogant. And another important thing for me, a takeaway I'm looking for today is also, how do I silence that big voice inside my head that nobody actually hears about, which keeps doubting me, myself, as I'm going forward? How do I keep reminding myself I am fabulous, I am wonderful? Okay, as you saw from day one of the sessions held by the improv sessions held by PB and Alana and Nahi. Then basically, thank you, Farhad. Good to be over here with you as well. It's basically those are the things that I would be looking at as well. Max Barbary talked to us and said, I'm wonderful. And he's absolutely right, we are. Sometimes we tend to forget. And the only reason we need to remember that is so we can make an impact and make the world a better place, as I see it. And be a bridge for the next generation. Thank you, Gulshan Jindani. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure seeing you over here. So, as something my father used to keep telling me right from the very beginning, he said, time is the most valuable resource that we've got. So make the most use of it. I think as we tend to think a little more about it, we realize that focus hona bahut zaruri hai. And the time we spend to reflect on the power packed days that we've already had, there have been 3 of them and they've been really power packed. It's important to reflect in order to be able to embed the learning that we've got and say कि अच्छा ठीक है fine, ये तो सीख लिया, अब इसके बाद इसको एक unconscious competence कैसे बनाएंगे? If, for example, and I've been given feedback earlier on in my life that I'm not a good, and good to see you as well, Tara. Assalamu alaikum. And I hope you're well, and I hope you've enjoyed the first 3 days over here. I've been given feedback, hey, need to listen better. Alhamdulillah, I think I'm much better at it compared with before. There's always room to grow and be better. But then the bottom line is, Giji, how do we move forward from there? So, Arif Anis IA is going to be with us, and in terms of taking it forward, I would request you to just bear with us a little bit because we may have a little bit of a joining glitch. Just bear with us again. He's going to be reconnecting. But learn all you can, do all you can to absorb, okay? Get involved. And listen, if you're not able to attend all the sessions right now, it's not an issue. Please do go back. Take care. Assalamu alaikum, Katsab. Good to see you as well. If you're not able to attend all the sessions, no issues at all. You can't attend 11 parallel sessions. But then that's basically the reason why we have all of those recordings up there for you. And Shabeen Mazhar, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. Best wishes to all of us. I'm really, really looking forward, basically having all of us there and checking out our amazing buffet. Okay? I love that term for it. Okay? That the talk team have coined for it. Okay? This is our buffet. Take a slice, take it forward from there, and move forward. So I think that's really, really good. What is one thing that I found very useful, and I am, bear with me please, because over the last few days, what I've also had is I had a bar cut for a full day, so I'm catching up on a couple of sessions there. One very useful session that I had was on personal excellence, which Dr. Zishan Ahmed, Dean at KSBL, actually went through. I attended that. And that was very, very useful. You see, different things, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And by that token, you end up having different things, aha moments in different ways. And that's basically what happened with me. I had a lot of aha moments on personal excellence, which Dr. Zishan Ahmed talked about. Because he talked about connecting your purpose and how to basically move forward from there. And the clarity of thought was very good. I think all of us want to be known, want to be remembered. Now, I'm aware that it's 10:17 right now. Just bear with me for half a minute. Let me just check and see, Kiji, if Arif Saab is basically able to connect with us. And then let's, okay, great. We had a couple of glitches, and just to share with you, by the way, okay, I had a glitch myself as well. I'm actually sitting in my husband's office. It's clear because we didn't have electricity, and we don't have a generator because we never had anything. घर पे generator नहीं है. अब 2 दिन पहले एकदम से बत्ती गई. Adnan, Assalamu alaikum. And thank you so much for volunteering and working alongside with us and pulling all of this together and making it happen. You're doing this for a lot of people, और बहुत सारे लोगों की दुआएं ले रहे हैं in this. So that's one glitch that I've had this morning. So I picked up everything, lock, stock, and barrel, and came running over. Fortunately, मियाँ का दफ्तर जो कि हमारे घर के करीब है, so by that token, that was a big blessing, and that helps. That really helps. As in our panel, which is going to be happening after our keynote by Arif Anis IA, please do think about the questions that you would like to share with us. Okay? Because हमारा जो कि है, we have an ever-changing world. आज के ज़माने में हमारा, why do we need to learn and relearn so quickly? Because research has shown that half the careers that 5th graders are going to be getting into have not even been created yet. So, हमारे, in order, if we want to guide not just ourselves, but those who are our loved ones, we also have to be able to see कि अच्छा ठीक है, हमारे पास इतनी सारी information सिर्फ मिल रही है. There was a study by one of the big 4 consulting firms, which said that more information was generated in the last 9 months of 2018 than was generated in the entire lifetime of someone who was living in the 18th century. Now, जब इस तरह की चीज़ हो जाती है, then you start to say कि okay, अगर ये बात है, तो how do I actually sift through all that information? It's important to be able to sift through all that we are getting in order to be able to make good decisions. Now, for everybody who's with me, it's 10:20 right now. So here's what I'm going to do. To save us a little bit of time later, I'm going to just introduce our four panelists as well. You may well know them, and you can easily look up the our TRG website as well in order to be able to see the backgrounds of Asma, Saad, Adil, and Hassan. But I'm still going to introduce them to you. Okay. Hassan Asar, I have said, he leads HRSG as the group CEO. Okay. He oversees he has been overseeing corporate strategy and innovation initiatives of the firm. He's been there in this role for nearly 4 years now in September, and he had some very big shoes to fill of his father's, and I think he's done an amazing job taking it further. Previously, before he joined us over here in Karachi as Group CEO for HRSG, he worked for Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, Merrill Lynch, and he enjoys reading, mountain biking, and ecotourism, which is why it is a real pleasure to speak with him, and you learn a lot always. Adil Musaji, on the other hand, is a serial entrepreneur and designer, a lot of fun. He's worked on and he's created brands such as Ego, The East End, Thal.pk, Raintree Spa. But the important thing is, and that's what we'd all like to leverage today, he's got so much experience over here. He's quickly learned things very, very quickly as he's moved from one thing to another in creating one thing and then moving on to another. He's an active member of the Nest, okay, which is a startup incubator. He's also a former associate professor at the Textile Institute of Pakistan, and he's consistently committed to help create small-scale business and add an element of Pakistan to design. So when I met him once, he turned around and said, "Okay, आपके भी अगर छोटे-छोटे ख्वाब हैं, let's take it from there." Hamid Khan Saab, Arif Anis Saab is here. Okay, ji, so I'm going to hand over to him without further ado. Thank you very much. Over to you, Talk Team.
Hello there. Assalamu alaikum, Pakistan. This is Arif from London, and this is actually a very early morning over here, somewhere around 6 a.m. तो पाकिस्तान में आप अपना दिन स्टार्ट कर चुके हैं और यहाँ पे इनफैक्ट we are very early start due to this amazing learning festival. So first of all, I will congratulate everyone who is watching this program at the learning festival. I hope I am audible and you can listen to me all. Congratulations for joining Learning Festival. Life is nothing else but continuous learning, and as I have been seeing the last 3 days, and thousands of those hungry, excited learners who have been part of this amazing festival, and then the organizers, as Ayesha was here, and Omer and all those amazing people, they are actually doing something fascinating. Looking at the breadth of programs and everything, it is actually once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm so glad that I was picked up to deliver a keynote. We had some technical issues and I've been trying to sort it out. So hoping all is good to go. Now, all right. Thanks for the title. I'm actually going to talk about the executive presence. Executive presence is the next holy grail of leadership in the West these days. For the last 5-6 years, there's been a great amount of research, a great amount of enthusiasm, books, audio, podcasts. A lot has been done on this particular angle. executive presence. Right? This is something about leaders, and we all love leaders. We all have our favorite leaders. We all have people we actually aspire to, we yearn to follow. In fact, and these people, they have some incredible existence because they did something fascinating, or they stand for something. And these leaders are not only, now I'm not talking about the political leaders or economic leaders or leaders, the industrial leaders or the chief executives. We have leaders in every field of life, as you are experiencing, in fact, your direct interaction through this learning festival with those amazing leaders. These leaders have something fascinating, जिसका हम उर्दू में कहते हैं गिदर सिंगी, ठीक है. These leaders have something fascinating about themselves. And that fascinating thing, though we know this from the thousands of years, but that fascinating thing hasn't been broken down into some kind of formula in the last thousands of years. From Alexander the Great to Steve Jobs of today, or Bill Gates of today, or Imran Khan's of today, this has been a question like what actually creates a leader? Impact कहाँ से आता है? Followership कहाँ से आती है? That secret sauce जो कि leadership से relevant है किसी भी profession में वो होती क्या है? So researchers have been toying with this idea, or Harvard Business Review से लेके lots of good research journals have been looking into this, and they came up with this secret sauce, Gidir Singhi, as executive presence. Of executive presence, this is what we're going to demystify and decode, and hope you're going to understand and challenge me or understand or question the way it works out. Thank you, Adnan. Right. Executive presence. Before we start, let me engage you all in some kind of reflective journey. Those of you who are watching this program, I would request you to do one thing. I just want you to write down. I'm sure that you're taking notes, so you can jot down 3 names that you consider leaders. Let's actually find your 3 names. You can actually put them in the chat box, or you can jot them down on your notepads. 3 people that you consider leaders in any given field. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, excellent. Now, as we know that these are the 3 leaders, and these 3 leaders are important to you. They could be your teachers, they could be your bosses, they could be some political leaders, they could be some religious leaders, they could be leaders of any type, because leaders come in all shapes and sizes. Now, once we know that these 3 leaders are important to you, we'll do something, another reflective exercise, in fact, that I would want you to go through before we step into this program. Right, quickly. I would want you to close your eyes. If you can close your eyes, and I want you to be in a room with one of your favorite leaders, right? Close your eyes, and you are in a room with your favorite leader. It can be a male or a female leader. It can be a political leader, a business leader, an industry leader, your teacher. It could be anything, anyone. I want you to, as you are in this room, I want you to feel what you're feeling while you're present in this room. I want you to listen what you're listening, and I want you to see what you're seeing. As you are in that room, I want you to see what you're seeing, listen what you're listening, and feel what you're feeling while you are with that amazing leader. Right. Brilliant. Now, you can open your eyes. And I want this feeling, and whatever you noticed, I want you to stay with it for a while. Because this particular leader has got that secret sauce, that secret code, that secret formula that we and different researchers and the different writers have been naming as the executive presence. A leader has EP, the executive presence, which I wanted you to first of all get hooked onto. जो लीडर आपने सोचा, जिस लीडर के बारे में आपने सोचा, उसको अपने जेन में लेकर आए, उसके अंदर एग्जेक्टिव प्रेजेंस का एक जुज मौजूद है. नाउ दैट्स गेटिंग इंटरेस्टिंग, क्योंकि अब आप आहिस्ता आहिस्ता यू बी फिल्टरिंग थ्रू, क्योंकि आप जो भी आपका लीडर है, द पर्सन यू एस्पायर टू एक्चुअली बिकम, या आपके जहन में एक आइकॉन है. This icon has something that now you can actually um, gather and start using for your own life. ये सारी की सारी exercise, the learning festival and the entire exercise is actually happening because we want you to gather and collect that particular essence, वो गिदर सिंगी या वो जो secret code है, so that you can actually unlock that and use it yourself in your leadership position. Now, first of all, you know the three leaders, and then you have been in a room with a leader, and you actually know how it feels to be with that leader, and you heard something that was said by that leader, and you saw something that leader was doing. Now, getting interested, we want to step into the next phase. Are they actually giving you bit of a demo on two leaders? We'll have two executives, or say two chief executives, two CEOs. One is CEO A and one is CEO B. Now, these both CEOs will do something very interesting. They actually have this, today they have their AGM, right? And all of you are the members of the AGM. You are the worthy, respected, and honorable members of this AGM. These CEOs are going to talk to you. So here comes the first CEO. We call it CEO A, and CEO is actually going to talk to you. Today, I'm feeling great being here among all of you amazing people. It is a moment of pride for our company that was started 10 years back. Now going for the IPO today. It is only possible because you have been into it. You made it possible. It is your sweat and hard work, long hours, weekend in the office, time from the family that got us here. I cannot thank you enough, and I hope that we are going to have a great tomorrow together. Okay, we all heard this CEO. This was a little experiment. If you watch me delivering this, I will give you actually quick 30 seconds. I would want you to analyze what you heard. You heard your chief executive in an AGM talking to you. You just saw him doing this. So I want you to quickly analyze, what do you gather from this small speech of few seconds? Are you going to trust this man? Are you going to be happy listening to what he just shared? Are you excited depending upon what he said? What is your reaction? I would want you to put this in the comments box or the chat box, or put it down on your notebooks if you're taking any notes. So you heard someone say something, and then this particular person made you feel something. What is that something? When you heard him, when you watched him, what did you observe? And what are you experiencing? Yeah, all right. Yes, I'm getting comments like he was there for some formality. I'm getting comments like as if he didn't mean it. Um, I'm getting comments as this is something he was disconnected. Yes, he was there for formality. He was saying this. When you say something is formality, that means it's something not coming from your heart. You don't actually mean it, right? Mhm. Okay, there's one person who says, Nusrat says it's passive charge, right? Hmm. However, more of the comments are actually, yeah, he was least bothered about the people, right? That's a very interesting observation. Leadership is actually all about making people feel great. Those people who are working with you, those people who are around you, those people who are actually in that room, in that particular building, in that particular probably stadium or wherever, whatever you're doing, in fact, you make them feel great. And he was least bothered about his people. Now, why would you say that? Ali Raza says this, and then Bukolik says something superficial. Something superficial. Now, what was actually going wrong? What made you feel this? I want you to repeat this question. Why are you thinking what you're thinking? Why do you think that he's superficial? Why do you think that he is probably selfish? He doesn't care about his people. Why do you think that he was there for a formality? He was not connected. His heart was not into what is going on. Why do you think? I want you to reflect upon this question, because now I'm going to invite the executive B, the chief executive B. The chief executive B is going to deliver you something, and watch him intently, listen to him intently with good deal of care, because I want you to reflect the same question again. So here, all right. Someone says, okay, tone, voice, and body language. Good. We got some very excited learners. They already know that, right? Okay, let's speak with, now, let's actually watch Chief Executive B doing the same thing, but now let's see how this works out. Hello, today I'm feeling great being here among all of you amazing people. It is a moment of pride for our company that was started 10 years back, now going for the IPO today. It is only possible because you are in it. You made it possible. It is your sweat and hard work, long hours, weekends in the office, time off from the family that got us here. I cannot thank you enough. And I hope that we're going to have a great tomorrow together. All right? Well, bit of acting skills, I would say, right? So this chief executive B, he said something and he said something, and you saw him doing something. What was different? What kind of message you got? What are you feeling right now? How are you feeling yourself being in that room? What did you notice? What did you see? What did you hear? Good. I would want you to once again comment. I would want you to once again take notes. I would want you to interact, because there something happened, and this is what exactly relevant with as we quickly get into our subject matter and discuss it and kind of close it to a short time. So, what happened with the chief executive B, and what kind of message are you getting? Good. You're getting enthusiasm. You're getting connection. All right. Okay. So you think that the chief executive B is much more connected. He can be trusted. Yes. All right. Yeah. No, certainly thinks. All right. It's enthusiasm. Yes. Another comment comes about. Yes. The trust building and relationship. Wow. Excellent. Yes. So, all right. Sadat sends a comment that is successful, centered, and is connected with the audience, looking very positive and energetic. CEO is actually today, right? Hmm. Okay. Empathic, at the same time, positive vibes, making people feel their worth, inspirational. Wow, good. That's a disease. Correct. So now, quickly getting over that, what happens here? We met two CEOs. We were in the room with a leader. Chief executive is a leader, right? You would agree to that. And that chief executive spoke. There was chief executive A, chief executive B. One person spoke, and the second person spoke. One thing, if you notice, they exactly delivered 100% similar words. Did you notice that? Yes, good. Yeah, this is chief executive you are describing. Did you notice that they delivered the same words, 100% similar words, dot to dot, comma to comma? There's no difference at all. So the question is, if they delivered the same thing, then what actually made the difference? How they how the outcome was absolutely 360 degrees actually changed. It was kind of a seesaw. It was exactly opposite to each other. If two people speak and they deliver you word by word, letter by letter, dot by dot, the same thing, the question is how would that still change the outcome? Right? We just did a small experiment while with the limitations of the internet connection and all this virtual stuff. So I leave you with a question. How is it possible that two people, while they deliver exactly similar verbiage, similar words, dot to dot, how could this change the outcome? And what actually changed the outcome? I want you to quickly reflect. A short of time, so quick. What created the difference? Can you comment? I would want you to comment. I would want you to take a note. I would want you to challenge. I would want you to think. What created that difference that exactly reversed the entire outcomes? The first chief executive spoke, and you guys thought, oh, I cannot trust this man. He's very selfish. He's very self centered. He doesn't give a damn. He is not he's not excited. I cannot actually trust when he says, I'm very proud of you. No, he's not proud of me. He's totally disconnected. Second person is connected, and you're feeling connected, you're feeling appreciated, you're feeling empathic. There's good enough understanding, and that understanding is actually creating that linkage, that relationship that suddenly makes you warm, right? So, this small experiment, we learned one thing, that it's not actually what you say. It's not what you say, it is how you say it, right? Yes, you speak from the heart, but how do you know that you're speaking from the heart, right? We are going to discover this particular secret sauce, Gidir Singhi. So, how do you know that you're speaking from the heart? Now, I'll quickly give you two comparisons. This comparison will give you the difference among them. The first one was actually not looking into you, not looking into the camera, was disconnected, was talking to himself, and at the same time, the words and feelings were disconnected. How about this? I'm really, I'm very excited seeing you all here, and at the same time, I'm very excited seeing you all here. Now, yes, someone commented here the body language and then the vocal actually power, our vocal velocity. the tone of your voice, the tone of your voice, and the body language. And the body language, as you know it, the gestures and the posture, and then definitely the eye contact. The first person didn't have the eye contact. Yes, yes, bucolic, good comment. Yes, the person was disconnected. Your leader was just disconnected. It wasn't seeing through you. The hands were not moving, the gestures. And if someone stands still here and talks to you and doesn't look into your eyes, so what happens there? Is a disconnect. And with the similar words, the total message would be kind of misunderstood. Now, if I ask you a question, have you met such kind of people? Have you met such kind of leaders? The answer would be yes. You might have met such kind of people who have been placed on these positions by the power of the office. They are they are political leaders or some kind of executives or some kind of industrial leaders. But then at the same time, while they have a title that tells that he is a leader or she is a leader, but actually this is not that you feel about them. Because once again, I would take you back to the three amazing people I asked you to think and reflect that, all right, think about the leaders. And you thought about the three people. Those three people have that executive presence. What is that now, executive presence? I would see if I quickly could connect my screen and show you a quick presentation. Otherwise, if I couldn't do this, I will live with what I can. All right, so, okay. All right, so some, all right, I'm unable to connect. No problem. Well, we're short of time, and due to some technical issues, we um, found it difficult to actually connect earlier. So, coming back, when you think of great leaders, and here I would mention great leaders like Muhammad Ali Jinnah or Nelson Mandela or Bill Clinton or your own political favorite, like it could be the current Prime Minister Imran Khan, if you like him, or the former Prime Minister, or the next Prime Minister. It could be anyone, in fact, who would be some kind of icon or some kind of inspiration to you. Or it can be someone like Abdul Idi, or it could be actually anyone that you consider a leader. Now, that person acts in a particular way, that person speaks in a particular way, that person carries himself in a particular way, but there must not be no understanding, because I'm quickly going to sum up this secret sauce that we all call executive presence in a manner that you can understand that executive presence is not only body language, it's not only your vocal training, and it's not only your, say, acting, right? Leadership or the executive presence is much more than that. Leadership or executive presence, if we break it down in three main categories. It is your style, it is your substance, and it is your character. Three things. These three things somehow spell it out. What kind of leader and how your presence is going to make a difference in that particular country or company or organization, whether you are a chief executive or you're a GM or you are managing a team. If you're managing a team, you are a leader. And I think most of those who are watching this program, they are leaders, the leaders of, say, not small stature, leader of a small group or a large group. So it's your style, your substance, and your character. These three things spell out what executive presence is. When it comes to the style, that is actually about your looks. I'm not wearing a tie. It is actually 39 degrees over here. But yes, if I am wearing the suit and the tie, if I am dressed for the occasion, right, that is my appearance. In appearance, in fact, one secret that can help you is that if you are dressed a bit overdressed, at least one step up wherever you're going, whoever you're meeting, that is good practice of executive presence. A leader is And those three leaders probably that you thought of, for example, if you think of Qaeda Muhammad Ali Jinnah, you would find him dressed in the best possible suits, with the best possible, in the best possible cars, and it was 1930s and 40s, right? So the appearance matters, but appearance doesn't mean that you are actually kind of putting on a show. Appearance means that you are exactly relating to the context. If you are in a particular gathering, you are dressed for the occasion. It's not really probably getting dressed into thousands of pounds of worth of designer suits. No, it is getting dressed for the occasion and making sure that your presence is noticed. Whatever you're wearing is clean. Whatever you're wearing helps you stand out. It doesn't actually melt you down. Style also relates to intentionality. That is the context in which you are operating. But once again, we're talking about the appearance. It is about the interactivity as well. As you just noticed about the interactivity, the chief executive was talking to you, but you didn't feel that he was talking to you. Inclusiveness is also part of the style because you felt left out when chief executive A and B they were talking to you. You felt that chief executive A left you out, and suddenly you were not included in this entire thing. This is the style. Different people actually have these styles. They can be really annoying, but yes, these styles exist. And then assertiveness. Assertiveness is once again, how do you know that someone is assertive? How do you know if someone is committed? In fact, this is the tone of the voice. So that means if you are a leader and you're watching this program, you need to work on your appearance, and probably you're already working on it. You have great amount of shirts and the best ties already in your closet. But then, are you working on your intentionality, uh, on your interactivity, on your inclusiveness, and on assertiveness and commitment that is reflected by your tone? Quickly summing up, substance is the next part. In substance, in fact, when someone talks to you, there must be wisdom, there must be some practicality, and that comes through confidence. For example, if once again, CEO A and CEO B, you could clearly feel the difference between the confidence of the two people. Similarly, composure. The composure is actually in executive presence. That's called the courage under fire, right? Everyone is composed, everyone is doing great, everyone is probably behaving great, but then it is crucial that when the crisis happens, when the sky falls, then how composed are you at that particular moment? That particular moment defines leaders. Anyone actually who melts down like a candy floss, right? जो गुड़िया के बाल होते हैं उस तरह से अगर वो पिघल जाएगा तो फिर वो लीडर नहीं कहलाएगा. That is important that you can hold grace under fire when people are actually criticizing you, when people are shouting at you, when the sky has fallen, you can remain composed. And I must tell you, those who are watching this program, if you want to remain composed, one of the great ways to remain composed is powered breathing, executive presence. And most of the people who practice executive presence, most of the leaders actually who practice executive presence, they practice power breathing. Power breathing is a separate discipline, and we can delve into that, but that actually means you breathe for a good 4 seconds in, you keep it for a good 7 seconds there, and you push it out for a good 8 seconds. So it is the rule of 4, 7, and 8. If you can practice it today and you continue practicing it today, you'll be having great amount of composure under fire. Resonance and vision. Once again, you're already familiar. I think most of you know that these are the good two traits of the substance of the leaders. Now, we are almost ending this, and it's good that I must sum it up. Executive presence is not acting. Executive presence is not having your sound like Amitabh Bachchan or some other kind of iconic actor. Executive presence is not even, say, looking like Tom Cruise. Executive presence is character based, it is authenticity, it is integrity, it is concern, something that connects you with your audience, with your followers. It is the restraint and it is the humility. Any leader, और इस पे मैंने अभी recently post किया था, and I will repeat this again. It's Muhammad Ali Kalei, the boxer. He used to say one thing: I cannot trust anyone who respects me but disrespects the waiter. I cannot trust anyone who respects me but disrespects the waiter, because I clearly understand that this person would disrespect me as well if I am the waiter. Now, great leaders have the executive presence, they have the humility. Anyone who's arrogant, and I'm sure you've met many of them, you have a fair share, we have a fair share of arrogant leaders, but then actually they don't have the executive presence. They can be named as leaders, they can have the title, they can have the visiting card, but we don't believe they are leaders. Leaders are those that you, when you were starting this program, you wrote down those three names. They are the leaders. And why? Because they have that authenticity, that integrity, that concern, and that humility. Without these few elements, then leadership becomes just an acting exercise. And an actor is not loved as a leader. An actor could be only loved as for his or her acting. This is something that sums up what what this particular executive presence, the secret sauce of the leader, stands for. If you are someone who wants to be a leader, yes, the same three-tier approach would work for you, right? You must have a character. You must be genuinely doing it. And once you genuinely do something, then you can step up the game and you can access, you can inspire, you can create a circle of followers who would want to do anything for that particular vision or mission that you're engaging them into. But that's crucial that you don't deceive them. It's crucial that you mean what you said. It's crucial that your commitment stands tall when the sky falls. In any given situation, that is how we can we can actually come up as leaders, as executives, as someone who have a presence and the power to pursue, and at the same time, the power to wield influence on the followers. Now, this power comes with great amount of responsibility. It's not something that is given. That's not something that should be abused. So, on this point, I I'm going to stop. I'm actually exactly not sure because I don't want to run over my time. While I quickly look at some of the comments and some of the observations. Yeah, say Nasrat says that tell us about the leaders who only speak through actions and character and not from the speech. I think we know about these leaders. I mentioned Muhammad Ali Jinnah. I think when we mention this particular name, we already understand that it is the character and not the speech. Uh, Once again, I mentioned Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison. So it's not the speech, it's not the acting, but it is someone who lived it through the sweat and blood of this entire process and carved the name. And there, when it comes to the actor leaders, I think we all know there are many. They can be political, they can be executives, they can be bosses, but then they miss the executive presence. You must be with a leader. It can be a business leader, it can be a leader of any type. That when that person speaks, you already know, yes, right, welcome back. That while we are here, but I cannot trust you. I don't trust what you're saying. And this is what, if this happens, if you cannot trust what a leader is saying, I think the executive presence is dead. Welcome back. Thank you.
Absolutely so. And thank you so much. Arif, that was a very informative session. Bottom line, कि जी, style, substance, character, जो कि है, ठीक है? Those are the things which spell out your leadership impact on others and your authenticity. There's so much that you give us in a very short span of time. Thank you so much for that. We're very grateful,
Well,
and we're going to keep going back for this. Thank you very
it's
much.
been an honor. Thank you so much, Adi.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Glad we had Arif Anis at 6 a.m. in the morning from London. I'm glad he joined us. I apologize for the overrun that we've got, but we wanted to make sure we got the most out of this. One thing more, I haven't asked my panelists, but I'm going to request them to stay on till 11:40, please, so we can get the most out of them, out of their experience, and pick their brains as well. Okay? We've got a very important topic today. Our dialogue is about learning new skills. So without further ado, what I'd like to request is that we all welcome Asma Umar, Dr. Saad Ahmed Qazi, Adil Musa ji, and Hassan Azhar over. Assalamu alaikum, Asma. Assalamu alaikum, Saad.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum, Adil and Hassan. Thank you very much. All good. Thank you very
Salam, it's
much.
good to be here.
Good to have you guys over here. I'm sorry that you had to wait. We're learning on the fly as well a little bit over here. Let's jump into our session. Okay, we've got a lot of things to cover, and I think we've got a lot that we can share, that you can all share with them. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around the I'm going to say I'm going to go around the table. Okay. And what I'm going to request you to do is starting with Asma, and then Saad, and then Adil and Hassan, because that's how I'm seeing you on my screen. I'm going to request you to take just a couple of minutes, and then please share an example with our audience of a time in your life when you've had to learn something very quickly. You had to learn a new skill. How did you go about doing it? What were your thoughts and feelings inside? What would you share with your audience about what you learned out of it? That they can benefit from. Asma, would you like to go first?
Yeah, Ayesha, Assalamu alaikum. I hope everybody is fine. Thanks for taking us for this show. I'm very excited. As you questioned, honestly speaking, Ayesha, we have learned, I personally have learned so many things due to this COVID pandemic, and I consider it as an opportunity that from local we have gone to global, and we are able to connect so many people. And due to this COVID situation, I have learned so many new skills. Like we got collaboration with GEX Global Entrepreneur Exchange in Malaysia, and then I have done few Howard certifications. And other than that, I am very much interested in NLP. So I have recently done NLP certification from Sri Lanka. So this is all about how we can enhance our new skills and learn more and more. And due to this COVID being digitalized, this opportunity has become bigger and bigger. Thank you.
Great. Saad, is there anything that you would like to share personal experience?
Yes, definitely. Just like Asma shared, I thought that I am a wonderful teacher teaching in a university for last 20 years, and there is nothing more I need to learn about teaching. And one good morning, we decided that now it's taking too long and we have to switch our classes to online teaching. And just like I used to do while walking to my class, building up a story that how well I'll be talking to the students, I connected the cam and started talking with the students. And within 20 minutes, I realized that I am not able to use any of the tools which I have developed over so many years. And there is something new which I need to do about it, because quickly 40 or so students, they were onto their phones, they were talking to each other. I can see their typing messages on their phones. So after I got rid of that 40 horrible minutes of my first online lecture, then I went on to see what other people do when they do online courses. And the funny thing is that I myself had taken so many courses on Coursera and Udacity, but never realized the mode of teaching they were adopting. And but when it landed on me, I realized that there is a term called micro teaching, and I have to split my talks into small 5 to 7 minutes and 8 minutes sessions, and that is how I need to handle my teaching. And within a week's time, I had to go through the tools. I took some videos from Harvard and got to see. And from lecture 2 onwards, it was all fine. So basically, the lessons learned is be prepared to learn whenever it lands upon you.
And thank you for that. You're right. Actually, online teaching has become, was initially a bane for a lot of teachers. So yes, that's very, very true. Thank you for that. Adil, how about you? I know you've learned a lot of different things, as have all of us, but give us an example.
Actually, I have a couple of examples. One is very similar to Saad's also. लेकिन क्योंकि साद ने वो एग्जांपल दे दिया है तो मैं कुछ और बताता हूँ. So I started Ego, my clothing company, many years ago. Actually 2006. So it's been a while. तो हुआ ये कि जब हम expand कर रहे थे तो at that time, जेब में इतने पैसे नहीं थे. We had to do whatever we had to do to sort of make things work. At that time, Forum Mall was one of the most important malls in Karachi, and it was extremely expensive. The only space they had available was a 1,000 square feet store. इससे पहले जो मेरी दुकान थी वो तकरीबन 500 square feet की थी. So for me it was huge. इतनी जगह से करेंगे क्या? फुटबॉल खेलेंगे यहाँ पे. So I couldn't afford the rent anyways. So I called a friend of mine and I said कि यार शहजाद, you keep telling me कि कोई नया business करना है तो मेरे पास जगह है. So, would you like to start something? He's like, what would I do? I'm like, हम Thailand जाते हैं वहाँ पे foot massage बड़े अच्छे होते हैं, so we could do a foot spa. I think पाकिस्तान में कोई ऐसा सीन नहीं है उस वक्त. अब तो spa बहुत खुले. And this would work really well. He's like, yeah, I don't know anything about spas. Like, how would I run this? मैंने कहा तू टेंशन नहीं ले, मैं तुझे सेटअप भी कर दूंगा, इंटीरियर भी कर दूंगा, लोगों भी ट्रेन कर दूंगा, चला के दे दूंगा टर्नकी करके. He's like, अच्छा, like, what will it take? I'm like, well, तुझे 2 महीने का रेंट जो है ना बर्दाश्त करना पड़ेगा. तो he said, okay. पीछे ये हुआ था कि मॉल ने हमें 1 महीना रेंट फ्री दिया हुआ था, और रमजान was next week. So मैंने अपनी दुकान वहाँ खोली. अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह sales went really well. जब कोई 20-25वीं तारीख हुई रमजान की, जो सेल हुई थी उसमें मैंने कुछ पैसे निकाले और मैं फ्लाइट लेके बैंकॉक चला गया. और पीछे मैंने रिसर्च किया था कि अच्छे स्पा कैसे दिखते हैं ऑनलाइन जाके, हाउ डज इट वर्क, मसाज कैसे होता है. आई enrolled myself into a foot massage course and I went to a whole bunch of spas across Bangkok to see which are the best ones that I would go to. Excuse me. And I was there for about 10-15 days. I must have been to about 20 different spas, and I went through a 10-day reflexology teaching training. I came back, called people, interviewed people, trained people, did the interior, set it up. None of this I'd ever done before. And I'll talk about how to quickly gain a skill and be able to do this. But at that time, I was very new at this. It worked out well. So, so this is one of my stories that I really enjoy telling.
And thank you for that. Before we get to you, okay, because I know you have a lot of interesting things to share with us as well. Are there two points? सबसे पहले तो don't mute your mic yet. सबसे पहले तो next time around you going into something as interesting as all of this, please, I'm around as well. ठीक है जी. किसी को आपको भेजना experiential running के लिए, I think we'll all be volunteers. So thank you. But tell me.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. As you did this, आपने शहजाद को, अपने दोस्त को बहुत categorically कहा कि यार तू फिक्र नहीं कर, मैं सब कुछ करा दूंगा, सेटअप कर लूंगा and so on and so forth, right? That's very good, okay? But a lot of us don't really, we're afraid, यार हम करेंगे, होगा, नहीं होगा, कैसे करेंगे, कैसे नहीं करेंगे. Can you help us, take us through your thought process here? How can you, if you're giving somebody else advice for getting into something like this, हुआ क्या आपका मसला था, ठीक है, आपने किसी और जगह वो ऑफिस स्पेस फोरम वाली इस्तेमाल कर ली because दूसरी दिखती. How did you, So share with us, how do you stay strong at a time like this? How do you build that confidence in yourself to say, ho jayega, I'll land on my feet?
Actually, it's a very interesting thing. If you ever go into a meet where there are a whole bunch of people who have done their own startup successfully, I've heard a couple of lectures where people say that if you go into a hall, वहाँ पे 200-300 अगर लोग हैं जिन लोगों ने अपना business startup किया है, और आप अगर उनसे पूछे कि how many of you had a disaster when you were younger, lost a parent or lost both parents, or how many of you dealt with a health problem when you were younger, or how many of you had one of these serious problems that you've dealt with before, a lot of hands in that room will go up, right? And the reason is that gaining confidence, dealing with fear, right, being able to have grit and knowing that you can deliver does not happen overnight. It happens step by step, right? You need to do this every single day. मतलब ये जो मैं आपको कह रहा हूँ, ये पहली दफा जिंदगी में नहीं था कि मैंने कहा कोई यार नया पंगा ले लेते हैं बड़ा. But I've been taking small little steps to stretch myself into these directions my entire life, all the way from school. I started stuttering. मैं बहुत हकलाता था जब मैं छोटा था. I couldn't talk to people at all. I overcame that. I went to a really good college. I got full scholarship without with being somebody who started off at school really badly. I gained the love of a woman who was much above my level. और इस किस्म की बहुत सारी कहानियां which plug together and built on each other gives you the kind of thing. So, even later on, when we talk about how to gain confidence, it's something you build step by step, little by little throughout.
I think you focus on your wins. You focus on what you've learned every day. It is a process. It's not something that you come across that happens just automatically. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
Last but not least, please share an experience of yours, okay, where you had to learn something very quickly. And what did you learn from it? And what can you share with our audience about it that will benefit them?
Sure. So I'm going to go down memory lane about 20 years ago when I was new to the job market. And, early on in people's careers, they tend to move around. And so, and then I'm interviewing and I can reflect on my own performance during that interview. And I felt at that time that I was perhaps not getting it my best. And so I ended up taking a class at my employer at the time that taught you how to improve your interviewing skills. And it approached things in a somewhat different way at least at that time, where the instructor besides giving an overview to the audience, then ended up putting everybody on the spot, which obviously many people are uncomfortable with. I know I certainly wasn't comfortable sitting in front of the class and kind of being interviewed by a whole bunch of people that I didn't even know, which is more often the case in an interview. You're being somebody that you don't really know and you're on the spot. And they videotape you during that conversation, and then afterwards they evaluate your body language, the hand gestures that you're making, to the tone of your voice, and every little thing that actually matters quite a bit. Besides the substance of what you're saying, they evaluate these little things that are perhaps triggers and make your communication effective or ineffective. And they help you kind of fine-tune your communication in such a way that you are able to present yourself as best you can to your audience. And I found that to be a tremendously developmental experience for myself, where they tell you little things about how even the way you smell or your breath smells, and the way that you're sitting, how your hands are placed. These little things matter. Of course, goes without saying that you must do your research. You must be prepared for that conversation. But it's not only having that knowledge, having the right substance that leads you to the best outcome. It's actually a whole bunch of other soft skills or soft nuances of your communication that make it very, very effective. So you can look up to effective communicators. It's become a lot easier now to get video footage of effective communicators. I remember at that time I would look at people like Nelson Mandela and Bill Clinton and other prominent leaders, and how they would make points and connect with the audience, make eye contact and make their communication extremely effective. And I see, being in the profession that I am, I see a lot of people lacking those skills, particularly people who are, let's say, fresh out of college. They don't have, maybe it's because of the lack of experience, but I think these are skills that academic institutions perhaps need to really focus on developing, not only in the final year of college, but perhaps early on, so that by the time you're entering the job market, these communication skills are fine-tuned and are of a certain standard, so that you are able to give your best during these kinds of conversations.
And thank you for that. My message is, from what you just said, is my learnings from it is, one thing you did do is you took the bull by the horns and you said, "Okay, fine, I've done this interview, but I think I need to actually get back and I need to be able to do this properly. So I'm going to do something about it." So one is deciding. And then the second thing, the degree of detail that you talked about, right? I think a lot of us tend to not realize that when we communicate कर रहे होते हैं किसी के साथ, communication probably 7% voice, 38% verbal, the rest is all non-verbal, 55%. और उसके अंदर साथ-साथ, what you're saying is here, we need to understand how we come across a lot more. You also said about fresh grads, and that was something I wanted to ask Saad and then Asma you. So Saad, you are with NED, right? You see this on a daily basis. We hear about, so there is a gap between the fresh grads who graduated and what is required. Hassan mentioned communication skills.
Yes, it's very
on this. Ye bhi bataएं, please.
Yes, it's very, very important, because whenever the fresh graduates go and they are hired by any company, then within a month we get back the response, and the response is the same as Hassan mentioned. And over the last 6 or 7 years, we had specific research teams study this impact. So what we did, we made some faculty members who stayed in those companies, observing how these fresh graduates who are hired by the companies are behaving. And we got feedback from their peers, their juniors, and their seniors. And the analysis, we compiled that analysis in 2018 and made our curriculum changes accordingly, shared with HEC as well. And the results were very, very interesting. I personally was thinking before the results were announced that it has to do something with the curriculum, and we have to include some of the things in our curriculum which handle those. But partially, the reason came out to be the experience of those environments. These students have never been or have rarely been in those environments. I would give example of an airport. When we are at airports, from the behavior of the people who are engaging with the processes of taking boarding cards, going through immigrations, shopping around, I think all of us can see that who are the people who are in the airports for the very first time, or in the airplane for the very first time, and who are the frequent flyers. Now, exactly that thing is a partial reason for our fresh graduates, which happen in the organization. So what we did is, immediately we started a cooperative education program where we took our industries on board and requested them that, yes, you have internships, but internships is a very small period of time. So why not you engage the students from day one, as soon as they enter the university and have any vacations, winter or summer, you engage them. So you call them ABC fellow, and these students are engaged in those industries. In first year, you mop them, or you ask them to photocopy papers. They don't know much. But at least through these experience of 4 years, They get to know the culture, and they also learn these simple things: how to stand, what is the private space, how to interrupt, how to correct your body languages and things like this. And then what we also saw, that once we started doing these experimental experiences for these students, then their performances in the subjects which are aligned towards improving these skills improved as well. So it's because these softer skills are more related to experience rather than theory. So we shared then our experience with HEC as well, and now they have made compulsory in the in curriculum as well. But again, there are some universities who have more flavor of that. They are more towards like management and these specializations. Engineering and medical universities are still to cover a lot of this. But I agree 100% with Hassan that these are very important issues, and they are important to make our graduates relevant as well to the organizations and the society.
That's true. And thank you for that, Saad. Asma, based on this, because Hassan and Saad are saying the same thing, what's your advice to fresh graduates? This is what the university did, right? And what HEC is basically added to the curriculum. What would you advise fresh graduates to do? In 3 or 4 bullet points, tell me, क्या चीजें उनको करनी चाहिए so they can make themselves more relevant to the industry?
Thank you, Ayesha. I appreciate Saad's effort that they are doing to connect industry to the students. And very precisely, I would like, actually, Ayesha, this is a pain point in my life, what you have just asked, that, I feel so, I'm so touchy about this area, that we really don't put too much effort to our student body. We are not able enough to, groom them to be able to move to the market. So unfortunately, we are lacking in this area, and it is my pain point because I have been working for the last 17 years. And after working for such a long period of time, I wish if I would have been standing 10 years back at a very elite position in my life. But due to not having career counseling, due to not having mentoring, due to not having right coaching, I feel bad that if I would have been coached, if I would have been mentored by somebody, and if I would have been given the right direction at the right time, then I would be somebody else 10 years back. But God is always there. If you are dreaming for something, if you have some ideas to reach to some goal achieve some goal in your life, then definitely God helps you, and people automatically start connecting when you start getting help from people. Because I believe that law of attraction really matters. So for the fresh graduates, I really want to do something for them, because other than being an organizational psychologist, a corporate trainer, a life coach, and a consultant,
Sorry, Asma, I'm going to just, sorry, I'm very sorry to be cutting through, but I'm actually going to be asked. What I wanted to ask you is, give me 2 or 3 bullets, okay? This is what you would like to do, and that's commendable, because we all need to do that to contribute. But what does a fresh graduate need to do in order to be able to give?
Right. They should simply.
I'm sorry, not to give back, but to be able to work forward. I'm sorry, to be able to learn very quickly.
Right. They should, they should be very serious in their studies, and they should have some vision in their mind. Right now, they should think what are their interests, what they should go in, what they want to excel in future, what is the dream they want to achieve, and for that they need to have to talk to some mentor. They need to have to talk to some coach, and they need to connect with the same people who are already doing those tasks in their industry, and they start connecting them. And at a personal level, I believe that people really helps. The ones who are at your level, they really want the youngsters to grow. And this is why TRG has launched this a brilliant program to help the youngsters, to help youth, to help everybody to listen to new things, to good things, and to add value to their life. Thank you, Ayesha.
Absolutely, and thank you. So what you're saying is कि जी हमारे यहाँ जैसे fresh grads हैं, my daughter's a fresh grad, she just graduated, for instance, and we know so many others around us. And They should have a vision. No कि हमने करना क्या है, ठीक है ना? और उसी के subject से related, find subject matter experts who can be mentors for them, and basically then go that. So, Asad, I'll move to you. Okay, HRSG, you basically come across, you deal across industries with all of the corporate sector, right? And the pace of change is such, things are growing, changing very, very fast. Requirements are changing very fast, right? So, what do you think are the most important skills that a person needs to generally have? Okay, because we can't go. I would love us to have time, and maybe we cover it at another time if we go down industry by industry. But what do you think are the one or two or three top skills that make somebody very, very employable? Okay, in today's world.
Yeah, so Ayesha, I think I would name three as my top three recommendations. The first and foremost is effective communication. That's something that unfortunately in our society, in our learning system, perhaps is not as strongly emphasized as it needs to be, and it's essential that people, young professionals who are getting into the profession, think about these effective communication, when verbal, both. Effective communication is, I think, fundamental to people entering a profession and people in profession. Number two is analytical skills. Unfortunately, I think some of the ills of our society, have shaped the way we kind of think and behave in the professional environment. And just to give you an example, somebody who's, let's say, just starting off with an organization and is working with a SAIT, for instance, right, is often conditioned then, as they move along, to simply satisfy the wills of the SAIT and not really think creatively, not really think analytically. They may be downloading data to their audience rather than kind of analyzing information or analyzing problems and trying to find solutions. So creativity, skills, I think, are critical. And problem solving. I think these skills are somewhat interconnected. Once you are able to go beyond just getting the data and communicating the data, you can go to the next step, which is analyzing what the problem is and finding potential solutions. So what I tell my colleagues, my team members, is don't come to me with just data. Study the data, come up with possible solutions, and I value your input on what which one of these solutions, if you're giving me a multiple choice, which one of these solutions you would recommend, and then we can have a discussion and make a decision. So I think, like I said, I'm just going to recap. Communication skills, effective communication skills, are critical. They're foundational. They're fundamental to any professional. Analytical skills and problem-solving skills. I think these are my top three.
I think they're very, very relevant in what you said. But basically, you focus, you analyze data, move forward from there, and say, okay, what is the possible solution, and then recommend it is actually something that we can apply in anywhere in our lives, whether it's our professional life, our personal life, and then thinking independently as well. That's true. Now, we moved on. We will have another 10 minutes after 11:40. So I'm just going to, I'd like to move over to Adil, to you. Okay. During COVID, okay, we're aware that there are quite a few people who have either, who have, for one reason or another, in one way or another, lost their source of livelihood. A lot of us end up getting tuned in a certain way. right? As Hassan said, because depending on the organization that we're in, we may not be thinking independently. We end up basically saying, "Acha, humne ye kaam karna hai," or then we get the paycheck end of the month. Okay. You're a serial entrepreneur. Okay. What advice would you give to somebody who is either mid-career or even starting out with a couple of years under their belt here, and they want to move over from being employed to being self-employed, starting out their own thing? Because this is something that a lot of people want to know.
Okay, sure. Asma, I think I'll answer this in three parts. One is that Hassan was absolutely spot on with the three important skills that you use that one must generally have. I want to elaborate a little bit on that. So just take a minute. और वो ये कि मेरे जो तीन important चीजें ना वो ये पहली चीज है communication. मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि if you have these three skills, your chances of losing a job is less. Your chance of gaining out of the employment is higher, right? So the first is communication, like Hassan said. The second for me would be to learn and adapt constantly, not when a problem happens, but constantly, right? And the third is grit, right? To be able to push till the end, even if you're all alone, to make something happen, make it work, take responsibility, make it happen. Right? ये तीन चीजें अगर आपके पास है, तो the chances of you losing a job, the chances of getting a job is very high, I feel. Right? This is the first thing. The second answer to my question is before a situation even happens that you lose a job, right? You should be gaining skills way before that. See, if you've lost a job today, आप stress में हो, आपके पास पैसे tight हैं, you can't think clearly, your energy level is down, right? You should be gaining skills not because you're foreseeing कि यार मेरी एक साल बाद job छूट जाएगी, मेरी कल job छूट रही है, आज छूट गई है, but I want to be better. I want to know more. I want to be able to do more things. If I'm working, I want to be able to know कि यार मैं अगर कभी कुछ काम करूँ तो मैं क्या करूँ, side business या big business, or constantly look at trends in employment, where the world is headed, what skills would I take in, and it would sort of help me better my employability, right? और तीसरा आपका सवाल का डायरेक्ट जवाब जो है वो बड़ा सिंपल है कि मेरे ख्याल से आप पहले ट्रेंड्स देखते हो कि जरूरत स्किल्स वगैरह क्या है, मतलब whether it's employability again or whether it's starting your own business, right? So what is what are the trends? जरूरत किस चीज की है, कहाँ पे जगह है, गैप्स कहाँ पर है. दूसरी चीज ये कि मेरा पोटेंशियल क्या है, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ. Do I see myself selling biryani? Do I want to get into the construction business? Should I get into teaching? And so on. So what are possible things for me? Where do I see myself do this? Then identify skills and break them into bite-sized skills. So let's say that I want to learn project management, for example, right? Or the spa example that I gave. Now, इसको आप तोड़ो छोटे-छोटे skills में, skills that you can attain in a day or skills you can attain in a week, right? So बहुत सारा pile up नहीं होगा, you won't be stressed कि ये सब कुछ सीखना है, ठीक है? छोटे-छोटे आप skills में, and then go into stuff like YouTube, Google, talk to your friends, call strangers, acquaintances, right? Network, and use these things to gain skills. You can quickly watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos and understand कि यार project management होता क्या है, या spa चलता कैसे है. A billion YouTube videos out there, choose the best ones. Choose the one with a million hits or above, So एक basic landscape आपको मिल जाएगा. फिर आपने छोटी चीजों में break किया और बोला कि इस चीज के लिए मैं कोर्स ले लेता हूँ, इस चीज के लिए मेरी एक दो दोस्त है, इनसे गप लगा लेता हूँ, इस चीज के लिए यार मैं किसी को नहीं जानता हूँ, let me talk to people कि वो किसी को जानते हूँ. आज तक ऐसा नहीं हुआ, and it's probably been a million times that I've picked up the phone and called a random person and said, यार दोस्त मैं फला बंदा हूँ, मुझे आपकी सपोर्ट की जरूरत है, मैं ये चीज समझना चाहता हूँ, do you have time for me? कसम से एक भी बंदे ने मुझे कभी ऐसा नहीं कहा कि यार sorry, I don't know you, I don't want to talk to you. Everybody steps out of the way and takes our time. So if you can do this, right, put these three things together that I'm telling you, I don't think there will ever be a time where you will be stressed and you will not have something to do. If you wait till the last minute when a problem happens, I've been through it, इतना आप स्ट्रेस में होते हो कि आपके पास गुंजाइश नहीं होती to logically think, make a plan and execute it unless you have people to support this, until you have people to sort of, give you that space, whether it's financial space or whatever it might be, to make this happen. Don't wait till the last moment is my message to you.
And that's useful. That's very, very relevant in terms of this case. Yes, you're right. We sort of think ahead, learn ahead, and take it forward from there. Yeah. But मुझे एक चीज पता है, and Saad, I would ask you this. Here, itni information hai that's coming from all over. And Hassan, I want you also to please pitch in on this. Asma, I have one last question for you as well after this. ये बताएं कि जब इतनी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही होती है, जैसे आदिल ने कहा, ठीक है, तो Adil also pointed out that think ahead, learn ahead. Okay, what advice would you give to people to be able to zoom in? Because for somebody like me, for example, I know a lot of people like me who end up being all over the place. They're not exactly focused. How do you get them to focus on their purpose or what they have to learn, ताकि फिर वो zoom in करके फिर उसके बाद आगे चले, ताकि they don't waste time?
It's a very, very important and pertinent question, because most of the time you really need to know what is the skill which I need right now. Your realization hona, that is the most important thing. So I take a step back and talk a little bit about what enables you to identify the need कि कौन सा skill आपको सीखना है, because this attribute goes to a lifelong learning mechanism. पहले होता था हमारे बड़ों में कि वो डिग्रीज और सर्टिफिकेशंस लेके निकलते थे, एंड देन for over the 30-year period, 35-year period, they used to continue in that particular domain. Not anymore. We have to continuously learn. So lifelong learning is a skill. And one of the skills associated with this lifelong learning attribute is to enable yourself to know what is needed right now. To my experience, this differs whether you are a fresh graduate or you have gone 10 or 15 years down the line. So one thing which is common in both, in wherever in your age bracket you are, which enables you to learn quickly and identify what you need to learn, is to have an outside cyberspace social life. For example, having good travel habits with your family and friends. This seems very irrelevant and non-correlated, but travel enables you to strengthen your skills and helps you know yourself. Similarly, coming to knowing yourself and being yourself is also very important in learning new skills and developing a purpose of your life. Whether you are doing one thing or another, but having a purposeful life is very important, and travels helps you do that. And of course, there are some formal areas as well, tools as well, where you can help know your personalities, especially in the younger side. They don't really focus on what type of personality you are or what are your strengths and weaknesses, because if you know them properly, you Google, find your personality, and you will find several tests. So go through some of them and you will find these are your strengths. So you build on your strengths and you find out that these are the weaknesses. So then when you are deciding that this is the skill probably I need to take, then knowing yourself helps you identify the correct one better. And the last thing is, whatever you learn, bring it into your practice and teach others as soon as you can. Because when you teach others, then you use a different part of your mind, which enables you to settle these learned skills well, so that you can practice them correctly and more efficiently. So these are the few things which you have, and these are not learned over a short period of time. You start developing the habit. So in 6 months time, year time, you start realizing this. Yes, you are becoming a more comfortable learner, and you are becoming less shy to learning yourself.
And thank you. So to learn continuously, I will do those things which are totally unrelated to what it is that you are doing, basically. practice to make all these things a habit, teach others so that then you embed it, and then personality assessments for young people. You're right there. There is a difference between how different people at different stages would approach it. Thank you for that. Hassan, anything you'd like to add to this?
Yeah, so I think Adil touched on this a little bit. I think learning in our society has been, at least in my own experience, somewhat flawed because a lot of our academic system teaches you to kind of memorize and not really understand necessarily. I remember my own experience in school in Karachi, early on in my life, when I didn't understand something, I was humiliated and reprimanded rather than, someone really making an effort to help me understand. And therein lies the problem, and when I went abroad and pursued my higher education, that's where I learned to learn. And I think that is critical because if you develop the skill to learn, it sounds a little strange, but learning to learn, I think, is extremely important. And it really changes your perspective on life. When you really try to understand a problem, look at different sides of it and maybe find a solution, that could be a game changer. The other side to it is, I think people in this information overload that we have, the times that we live in, there's just an overwhelming amount of information, and sometimes you just want to like tune it out. What I've found helpful is finding a good role model. Let's say if we look at entrepreneurs, and a young entrepreneur were to connect with Adil, for instance, who's a successful entrepreneur, having perhaps failed and started successfully several different ventures. That connection, a person who's kind of been through that journey, sharing their experiences, their own learnings, I think could be really transformative. And I remember in my own career early on, we used to have this thing called A Day in the Life of, and it was really aimed at younger professionals who were trying to figure out, where they want to kind of, pursue their careers, because your academic education isn't much. It just gives you a foundation, and if it's good, it gives you the ability to learn, and that's about it. It doesn't, coming out with a degree in economics does not make you an expert on anything, and similarly for many other traits. So a good, in my opinion, at least in the liberal arts space, a good academic background would give you a good foundation, and then exposure, experience is where you learn. And if you were able to get that exposure by, maybe spending time with people in certain professions, that again could be very, very helpful for people who are pursuing a certain career. And similarly for entrepreneurs, I think spending time and sharing experiences with somebody who's kind of been through that journey could be very, very helpful. So I think there's really no substitute to experience, and that's why whenever young students or professionals, up and coming professionals, come to me for any kind of counsel, I tell them, look, there's no other way to learn but to experience. So I encourage children who are or young teenagers who are in even before college to actually start doing internships, because that is very, very powerful. And if you pursue internships throughout your college life, which I did personally, and it really helped me a lot, I think by the time you're graduating from college, you've already gotten a very good flavor of different professional environments, and perhaps weeded out some of the things that you don't like to pursue, you don't want to pursue, and if you're lucky, you perhaps have identified what you want to pursue. The other thing that I just want to quickly touch on is unlearning, bad habits. I think that's also critical. The times that we live in, necessitate, rapid change. Some people find it very challenging to kind of cope with, And so it's important that you you don't stick to what you know or what you learned 5, 10, 15 years ago and think that that's the only way forward. You have to adapt, you have to be nimble, you have to be agile, and you know, you have to be very open to learning something new, because what we've kind of gone through over the last 4 or 5 months is I don't think the world has ever gone through anything of this magnitude in the past, because the world has never been this interconnected. And for people to kind of move forward, it's essential that they you know, learn to adapt very, very quickly. I think you're on mute, Ayesha.
And thank you for that. You're right, Hassan. Maximize experiences, keep learning, don't be afraid to learn. And the more exposure you get, the more you'll basically be able to understand, okay, fine, what is it that I'm either interested in, or how do I deal with these situations as I basically get into this. Asma, before we close, and very quickly, tell me how sometimes internal worry paralyzes our thinking. Okay, can you give me 2 tips? Give us all just 2 tips, okay? How can we stop that internal worry from paralyzing us?
Okay. Most of the time we have gone through this situation that that paralyzes our thinking, and I believe that the 2 things I would like to advise, that you have to have a strong mindset. One thing, and the other thing is that one should be very optimistic and in thinking, and you know, your inner self at least should stay positive. If you are positive, then nothing around you is going to paralyze your thinking. I believe the force, you need to identify the force you have, the energy you have within yourself, so that the more the energy, so then you can excel to any extent. You're not going to worry about the circumstances, about the surroundings. If you have enough passion, if you have enough force, if you have enough energy. So the most important thing is to identify the energy you have and then motivate yourself, because there is nothing else in the world, I believe, is going to motivate you unless you have your self motivation. So these are the 2 tips from my side.
So thank you. Yes, being positive basically ends up giving you a lot of energy. You're very right. And then drive yourself. Somebody once said to me, I hate being followed up with. And she was an amazing performer. So I said, what makes you so good? You know, you're always, she said, I hate being followed up with. I'd rather think of things myself and then do it. And I think, and so she was somebody who's driven, like your example. You have all been great, and based on your perspectives, you have given our audience and me a lot of food for thought. Thank you so much for that, because you've come from different backgrounds, you have so much to share, and I really wish we had more time, which is why I very sneakily ended up extending our session as I did. So to close, thank you very much, all of you. But before you go away, I'm not letting you go away so easily. Take care. Let's go in reverse order, starting with you, Hassan, then Adil, then Saad, and last but not least, Asma. Please share just 3 quick tips for our audience that you've taken away from our panel discussion. Okay. Or even if it is something else that you want to add and you say, no, it's about fayda hoga, theek hai, sabko I have to share this. 3 quick tips that will help them learn new skills in the total process.
Sure, Ayesha, I jotted some things down, and some of the things we've already talked about. So learning to unlearn and relearn using unconventional and non-traditional methods. So interacting with information. You know, for instance, if you're learning to cook, reading, you know, the instructions in a cookbook isn't going to help. Actually, you know, trying that is what would be most effective. Number 2 would be applying what you've learned in your daily life. You know, otherwise it's useless. So a lot of us read books and don't really benefit from them because we don't really apply those learnings in our practical life. You know, I remember giving a book to a family member about environmental issues. And one of the things that it talked about, amongst others, was reducing our impact on the environment and reusing things, recycling, the 3 R's as they're called. And that family member, read the book and was complimentary of it. But I noticed that in their real life, they did not really change their habits. So, they didn't. This was my sister, so she didn't change her habit of recycling everything that she used. So I saw that as fruitless for someone to read a book that's trying to teach you something and not really applying those learnings in your real life. So it's important that you apply those learnings in your practical life, though they get reinforced and they help you grow. Practicing what you've learned, of course, kind of related to what I said. My second point is also just reinforcement of those learnings and helps in your own evolution. And number 3 is learning by following the example of others. So somebody that you admire or someone you see as a role model, you can kind of emulate them, learn from their experiences. Something I touched upon when I was talking about communication. So I was at that time when I was trying to improve my own communication, I was looking up to accomplished orators and public speaking people who were very good at public speaking, and what their style was, what their how, like Bill Clinton pauses and uses a lot of hand gestures when he's speaking to the audience. He makes eye contact. Emulating people that you admire, I think is also very, very good and an effective way to learn.
Thank you for that. Yes. So learning from your role models, practicing what you've learned, and learning to unlearn and relearn. Thank you. Thank you very much, Hassan. Adil, what about you?
Instead of giving 3 tips, I think I leave everybody with food for thought. अगर आप इस वक्त, if you have one stream of income or one career, one job, or you do one business, or even if you're a student, I advise you to immediately look into starting one more thing. अगर आपके पास ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं है, आप ट्यूशन पढ़ाएं, एक ऑनलाइन कोर्स पढ़ाएं. You can invest in something with somebody else. You can be a part of a startup as an advisor. If you feel there's nothing that you can do, take some courses, take some classes, gain a skill and start doing it immediately. Don't wait for a situation to occur जब आपको नया बिजनेस शुरू करना पड़ता है या आपको उस वक्त कोई नई स्किल करनी पड़ती है. Please do this today. Thank you.
I think that's most relevant, and thank you so much for that. What I'm going to request also all of you is, please, in your in the chat, if you can also add in how anybody can connect with you if they'd like to be able to, because I'm sure so many people will want to connect and reach out to you. That's if you can, and if you're comfortable. Otherwise, no worries. They'll come to TRG and we'll tell them where to go. Pigeon. Sir, how about you?
Right. So yes, many things covered by all these wonderful friends. Three things to share. The one thing is, it's very important to know yourself and be yourself. There is no point in moving around with your personalities and with your strengths and weaknesses. So the first step is know yourself, be yourself. The second thing is, we all need to realize that there is no shortcut to hard work. It's easy to listen and do this, but learning requires hard work, and there is no shortcut to that, no matter how digital we become. And the third thing is, share immediately what you learned. This will settle what you have learned and enable you to practice it more efficiently.
And I think that's what Adil was also saying separately, that teaching somebody else just reinforces all of this. Thank you very much, Saad, for that. Asma, last but not least, okay, what are your 3 tips for our audience?
Okay, the first thing I'm going to, very crisply, I'm going to talk about 3 things. being a psychologist, I believe that you should go for self-care. Start loving yourself before loving others. This is the most important thing. And the second thing is self-awareness. Before you understand others and you try that others should understand you, so you need to understand yourself to understand others. And third thing is unconditioned love. Try to develop unconditioned love, start giving to people and die empty. Die empty means give whatever you have learned, whatever knowledge, skills, information you have learned over the period of time, जितनी जिंदगी आपको मिली है, try to give it to people. इल्म फैलाने से कभी कम नहीं होता, हमेशा फैलता है. So these are the tips from my side. Thank you, Ayesha.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, all of you. Thank you, Asma. It has been such a pleasure having you over. And thank you very much for sharing your contact details with us. Basically, this has been a very useful session, not just for all of us. So we are going to be reaching out to you again separately from LearnFest. After LearnFest, I will at least, and I'm going to say, okay, fine. Let's talk some more about this, and then let's see what we can do in terms of micro learning or bite-sized chunks. So in the meantime, have a very good rest of the day. Team Talk and all of our audience who are watching, thank you very much for bearing with us. We had all of our panelists have so much to share that I just didn't want to let them go so easily. So I held on to you guys as well. Thank you very much for being patient, listening with us, and I'm sure that you got a lot of very good, very practical tips out of our dialogue today. And I hope you're going to start practicing them and applying them and teaching them to others, because that is what makes all the difference and makes them stick. So Team Talk, back to you. We're going to be starting again. To all our panelists, a very, very warm thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. Okay? Virtual hug coming your way. A Wakanda salute to all of you guys. Okay, thank you. We're going to restart our LearnFest session at 3 o'clock. Okay, and I hope